I'm nervous.
Once again, we're back with Davo Johnson back from over the Isle of Man. And
Cibo Catchup.
yeah, Cibo's Catchup.
Ronjamin Cibo Catchup.
Isle of Man Classic Superbike champion from 2019 and third on the podium this year.
G'day.
So,
19 was a distant memory.
Yeah.
Hold on. Well, it was good to get back there, that's for sure. It's felt like my first time there this year. After 3 years away.
There's been no racing there for 3 years. You haven't been back?
Well, I missed a TT through injury. So I was there watching, commentating, which is still good fun. But yeah, I got missed racing, which when you go to the TT and then the main TT on a big like 230 horsepower superbike, then you go to the classic TT, it all feels like you're in slow motion.
Okay.
But yeah, I didn't have that. Everything when I went to the classic this year, everything was in full warp speed. So it took a while to get my head into gear, but yeah, I was happy to take away third. I definitely wasn't as fit as what I mean, obviously, because I was injured, the only bikes I rode was little 400s at go-kart track. I did lots of laps on a go-kart track, so I was fit, but I wasn't strong. Like I really struggled with my arms at the classic, so I think that sort of. I mean, I think if I went obviously if I went as quick as I did in 19, would have been a clear winner, really. But it was yeah, I was a bit off the pace, but I was still happy to take away third.
You're on the Marquez recovery mode with on the kart tracks and that.
Yeah, well, it's good training, and like I said, I was really fit. Like changing direction, I felt really good with my body, but my actual strength wasn't there with my arms. And with the classic superbike, the throttle was really stiff, and you got to use a clutch, and that's quite stiff as well. And yeah, that was where the problem sort of was. Yeah, it's from the second lap really. My arms are starting to go already, but it's yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, third, I'm happy. It's good.
Well, I've got a question from somebody who couldn't make it here today. His Uncle Greg. Oh
yeah, that's great.
He wants to know if you've fully recovered from your injuries, and if so, are you going full attack next year at Isle of Man?
I've not fully recovered yet. I've still got like ligament damage, and I really stretched my muscles and ligaments when I crashed, and that's like, I fractured my pelvis, obviously, and did a rib and a collarbone. That's healed. The fractures are healed, but the ligament and muscle damage, that's still taking a while to heal. Like it's yeah, that does take time. And I went to the doctor the other day, and I was like, it still really hurts when I'm laying on my side. It like penetrates through either side. It sort of feels like squashing my pelvis. And the doctor's like, no, it's fine. You're alright. It's just going to take months.
Okay.
Like, literally months. It's still, she said, like another probably 3 months.
Well,
so, but it doesn't really affect me when I was riding. It affected me when I was getting on and off. But getting off was hard enough to like using my legs that much riding, and then when I get off, I was like told my mechanic to hold the front. And I'm like right, and then just had to like lift my leg off. But I was fine when I was riding, so it wasn't really. I can't use that as an excuse.
And how long did it take your ribs to get better?
Well, because I was laid out with my pelvis anyway, it didn't take that. I mean, it didn't. I was that pissed off. I didn't really care about that pain. I was more pissed off about missing the TT. So I've done pretty much all my ribs now. So yeah, I'll do a rib and a collarbone for a dare now, just for shits and gigs, because it's I think the pain threshold for that stuff doesn't really affect me as much anymore as what it did when I first broke my first rib. But yeah, it's just becomes a common occupational hazard these days.
How long's it been since you did your ribs and are they better yet?
Over 4 weeks. It just feels like one's bruised now. And the rest are okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it does still hurt when you cough and
laugh.
Sneeze, yeah. But
keep him laughing.
Yeah.
People work.
Yeah, but they heal like it doesn't feel like they're going to heal to start with, does it? You think, it's going to heal, but then they just do eventually. The human body is an amazing thing. When you get
fragile though.
Yeah, well, they get worse as you get older. But yeah, now it's just like when it's
The oldest one.
don't want to fall down any stairs. But
Don't
yeah,
fall
no,
downstairs.
not when you're over 60, I suppose. But yeah, the answer to the other bit of the question is yes. I'm going to be at the TT. There's one thing that the time away from the TT, the 3 years, and then plus the injury, it really stamped the sort of fact that I can't live without it. And if I don't live without it, I'll be a fucking angry guy.
my daddy-o used to tell me that he used to ride HRD Vincent's back in when I was born, 1954. And man, he was for a little bloke, he was the strongest person I'd ever known.
Yeah, that's good.
He used to take his gophers apart, and he'd had broken ribs, and he'd be lifting heavier stuff than I couldn't. And then he broke his arm over here one time, and the X-ray showed it like this much. By the time got to the QEH, next X-rays, it was worse than it started out. And then third time around, and the doctor's saying, "Oh, that's healing nicely." And I'm going, "What drugs are you on? They're better than mine." But he was really...
Well, he was on it till his last day, wasn't he? He was up and about. And
he was amazing.
Weapon, isn't he?
Yep.
Daddy-o.
Yeah, Daddy-o. Yeah, he was amazing. You got
You haven't ridden an electric bike yet?
I did ride one in the early days in the car park at the TT. It was Rob Barber's, he got on the podium. I think he even won it the first year.
Okay.
I think it was, yeah. And he was like, "have a go on this." And I was like, right, to turn it on, just like a little one of those emergency switches that you like it's on the back of the seat. I don't know how you'd get to it if you were riding, but I think you had a lanyard to shut it off when it was riding. But yeah, you just turned it on. I was like, "is that it?" It was on, and then it's like, it had some power, man. Bloody hell! But now they've come a long way since then. That was the first year of the no emissions TT.
Yeah,
Electric TT.
They still have that?
No, they've stopped it.
Oh, that's a bummer.
I don't know why. It'll come back, I'd say. But
yeah,
when I rode for Honda, I thought that was going to be my opportunity to ride with the Mugen.
Okay, yep, I remember
owned by Honda, and Mr. Honda was there, the grandson of the founder. He was there with us, like in our awning, in the Mugen awning, and I was hoping I'd get a ride on that, but they still gave it to McGuinness, even though he was on the Norton that year. So I was a bit pissed off of that.
Yeah, and talking Nortons, the Chrome Norton, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was a good time, really. I got no real bad things to even say about Norton. I know a lot of people do. But yeah, they don't owe me anything. And it worked in my favour in my sort of progression. So I had a good time with Norton. I was living in a castle, so it was good.
Okay, they've got this brand of electric bike called Damon, and they're very expensive, and they're going to be street bikes with ridiculous speed they can do. Something else about you've got a question.
Actually, to lead on from one of your questions before, you're saying about the Poleman Superbikes going to riding a classic.
Yeah.
Which is easier, the Superbike with more power, or the classic that you said is like riding in slow motion?
Well, I was actually thinking about that this year because how hard the throttle is and the clutch, obviously, to use on the classic. The throttle on a Superbike these days, you can just like breathe on it and go full throttle because it's so light. And that's what made the sort of Superbike easy. But then you got the Superbike everywhere; it's just trying to kill you, out of shape everywhere. So that regard of a Superbike is the hardest, and then the hardest of a classic Superbike is the actual, the old schoolness of it, like with the carby. It's like it's not fuel injected, so it's just a normal carby with a slide. So no electronics involved. And like back in those days, when you give it you want to give it like half throttle, you go to half throttle like that. With a modern Superbike, you sort of change because of power, you change the throttle maps to make the power more usable. So when you go half throttle, it's probably only giving you like a quarter throttle. It's so weird. But with the old days it is what it is with the throttle. But the new age model, even if it was very this year with the OMG Yamaha, Rich Energy Yamaha, most tracks you're full throttle, but it's only giving you like 80% power. So yeah, you're always changing things with the Superbike, which that makes it confusing. And there's so many things to change, and you can make a Superbike if you don't make the wrong change, you can make it completely unrideable.
Right.
So with all that involved as well, it's so hard to get one set up perfectly, like because you can't use all the power. That's why bigger guys like me and Hickey, we can sort of manhandle the Superbike a bit more, whereas the little fellas, they sort of really struggle to even hold it flat out in places where we're full throttle, we're like, give me 100% power, and we're full throttle, no dramas. Where the little guys, they're just like, you know, they can't, they're just like a little rag doll. So that's the benefit of being a big fella on a big Superbike. So, but yeah, for me it's very, very similar anyway, I think. But, yeah, the classic, I was only, just because I wasn't bike fit, it was the only problem I had with the classic Superbike this year, just my strength. But if I was full up to fitness like I was just before I crashed, for the Old Park crash, I would have been able to absolutely wring that classic bike's neck and no dramas. But yeah, just because I wasn't bike fit, it felt harder than what it should have really.
How are you going to get bike fitness for the TT now?
Just get back, do the testing, like the testing program we had. Excuse me. The testing program we had with Rich Energy OMG Racing Yamaha team. It was like I was fit as hell. I was like at the speed I was going at, I was able to do like 30 laps around, like definitely like Silverstone short track was no dramas. I did my fastest lap on the second last lap. I was ready. And I was quick compared to, well, my teammate was I was consistently quicker than him. And yeah, so I was ready to roll. And I'll just get back to that from where I'm now for next year. With the whoever I'm riding for next year, which don't know yet. I haven't signed no contracts as yet, but there's a few offers on the table. But yeah, so once I do sign and we make a plan, then I'll go over and do the pre-season testing. I obviously do a lot of riding here, and after New Year's is when I start to really focus up on my personal fitness. But yeah, so I'll be ready as I'll be as good as I've ever been. I think for next year I'm very much looking forward to it because I missed this year, so I'm more motivated than I was even at the start of this year. Really.
And I've seen that you've spoke very highly of OMG and Rich Energy when they looked after you at the beginning, when you got injured and everything like that.
Yeah.
So get a team like that, that's awesome.
Yeah, well, at the moment, like the contract with Rich Energy OMG team is it's done at the end of this year, so it's up in the air what's going to happen from here. Like if I'm with them again, which maybe if I'm with another team, which is probably more likely looking at the moment, but. Yeah, so you've heard it here first. But yeah, I've got nothing back. I mean, those guys have been amazing, and I'll no matter what happens with contracts next year, they'll still be very, very good friends of mine. So yeah, it's just racing at the end of the day. End of the year, every year, the contract's up, and you either stay or you go. So that's just how my life has been for the last over 20 years now.
Oh, yeah, I sort of remember when you started.
Yeah.
And you'll tell me about a long-time sponsor you got. That's Steve.
Steve-o.
Yeah. What's his company again?
Steve Langley, Chase Accident Repairs. Yeah, he's an awesome guy. He came to my buck show, and I did a buck show in London. A stag do here and a buck show in London. So
doubled up.
Yeah, well, I got like a complete different life over there. Like I'm basically like family friends over in England. So had to go and celebrate with them, and then same here. Obviously, this is where I'm born and bred, Adelaide, and I am till I die. Really, I'll be here because I love this place.
Oh well, where did you start? And it still amazes me that the amount of South Australians, Adelaide, guys start out racing at Malala that have made it to Isle of Man or winning championships in VSB.
Yeah.
You're like little old Adelaide, you wouldn't expect that.
I think from here, even racing in the Australian Championship, we don't sort of get as much opportunity as what the East Coast do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've got to be super determined from the word go. And if you haven't got that, like Glenn Richards always used to say, you only need a certain amount of talent, but you need more determination. and that's something that I think we've got here in Adelaide for sure.
And you had a question for
I thought Ash was going to ask me. You? Yeah.
I thought you were going to ask him about his commentary coming up.
So what kind of service do
He was talking about before.
both services?
Little Superbikes.
While they on this, have you ever been scared yourself that much on a track you've actually shit yourself in your leathers? And if you have, did you ever get on the podium in that condition?
No. Oh, no, I mean, no to the shit myself. No, it's weird when you're racing, when you probably know what it's like doing track days. Like it's, I mean, if you're ever scared on a track, and you actually, it's in your mind and you're riding around scared, you should just pull in. Like it's you can't have that mentality. You've got to be focused on what's happening. Like go from point to point. If you're going in a corner thinking, oh, I might crash here, that's the worst thing ever. That literally means this sport's not for you, basically. But yeah, you can't think about it on the track, especially the TT. If you're riding around the TT thinking that, then just roll to the nearest pub and have a few pints and just give
ring
up.
the boss up, tell the bike ran out for it.
So or do what Vinales did and just fucking hold on the rev limiter and try and blow it up.
Job after that.
Yeah, well, it's the funny thing is these days that bike knows what you're going to do before you do it. So yeah, that's very fucked up there.
And I watched the Billy's Superstock race from Cadwell Park where he had that big moment over the mountain, and I went, fuck Billy, and I sent Billy an inbox, and I said that one. He said, so did I.
He's been working hard. Every year he goes there. The mountain's actually the sort of his bogey area on that track, and everywhere else is basically quicker than anybody over the rest of the track, especially that last sector. And yeah, he just messed it up. But he's been trying too hard. I mean, not trying too hard. Been trying really hard to sort of make his bike sort of fly faster, further and faster, or a bit more of a lean. Whereas he really picks it up, does a little jump, and goes over it. So yeah,
because when they have their camera in the right place, that's awesome to see.
Yeah.
Josh Brooks was amazing over there.
He had a big moment over there as well.
Didn't he?
I think
I haven't seen
he crashed, I think, over there. Yeah, this year.
Past Tom Sykes.
I haven't watched that yet.
Oh yeah.
A couple of guys had a few issues.
I know Taz had a big one as well, but he saved it. And then there was a huge. I mean, you would have seen
race one, wasn't it?
Yeah, race one. There was a red flag from an incident over there, which is freaking crazy. What did you see that?
I've seen that. That's
Every year
got
there's
to pull
something crazy that happens.
I've got to dedicate some time to watching them.
I thought that's all you did. Now you watch aeroplanes. Now you live next to the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get trying to watch bikes. I'm watching aeroplanes. Ironic.
You have the TVs playing, bikes playing while you're watching them waiting for the airplanes. Good. Another question for you.
Yep.
What's your favourite piece of track anywhere in the world and why?
On a racetrack, Eau Rouge at Spa, Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. That I raced. Yeah, I've done a few laps around there. Raced there. My first ever time there, I got pole and I got second in the race in the ONK Championship. That's well, basically the Dutch Championship.
Yeah, I remember you doing that years ago. Yeah.
And yeah, I love it. It's so good.
Yeah.
Back to fourth and just send it in. My first lap through there, it just come through it, and then you're going down a massive hill towards it. I just cruised through it and then up and over, and I didn't keep turning to the right, just like thought the corner was over, went straight up over, nearly hit the fucking wall. Because you got to keep turning over the blind bit, and then you got a kink to the left, which yeah, that's just an amazing part of the track. Love it. That's my favourite corner on any track in the world. That's for sure.
Right, wouldn't have picked that.
Yeah, well, my favourite track's Sachsenring in Germany. That's just
short one.
Yeah, I never did really good there, but I just really enjoyed it.
Okay.
I got 8th there in the German Supersport, and my first European race, mainland European race with the RT Motorsports crew, and yeah, I got 7th or 8th. but which I was happy with that result. But yeah, it's not a podium, but it was. And I just really love that track. Even in the rain, it was real grippy.
Yeah.
And I just love that whole. I think if I went on a Superbike, I'm not a 600 rider. I'm too big for a little mini bike. But but I was probably like 70 from 75 to 80 kilos back then. But even still, that's probably heavy for a super sport guy these days. But yeah, I just love that track. It's amazing. All the lefts, just left, and then you go up over the waterfall. My first, we got there at night time. This is a funny story with that. My team is Dutch, RT Motorsports crew, and we rolled up at 8:30 at night to the security guards. This is Eastern Germany. There's a lot of people that haven't given up from the old days. They're real angry motherfuckers. And my team boss Rob Vennegoor got out, and my mechanic goes, "Oh, this will be funny." I'm like, "Why?" Okay, because this is a Dutch guy, and we're in Eastern Germany. And he's about to try and speak German to a German security guard. And this guy was like, just basically grunting at my boss, like, "No, you don't come here." Like, just, because there's not much manners on them. But we eventually had to get the other people from inside the paddock to get us in. So by the time we got in, it was about 10 o'clock at night. And the team went to go set up the pit box and stuff. And I went for a ride around the track on a push bike. And got to that waterfall bit, and it's pitch black out there. And this is like 10:30 at night. Got to the waterfall, and the next thing I was going down the hill, and mate, that is fucking steep. I didn't realise it. I was going down the hill, I was like, fuck, and then by the end of it, I was doing about 80 kilometres an hour at the bottom of the hill, and I couldn't see shit. The brakes didn't work on this shitbox push bike that I borrowed, and yeah, shit myself. That's a proper steep. That's so steep. You wouldn't even.
Yeah, because TV doesn't do it. They always say it doesn't do it justice and that. And they reckon it's
Just
hard
kept
to
going
walk
faster
up.
and faster, and I was like, fucking hell. Thought I was gonna.
Got to turn somewhere.
If I crashed there, I wouldn't have been able to race that weekend, I'll tell you.
That would have gone down well.
Yeah, like a lead balloon.
At least you weren't holding your mobile phone when you crashed.
I know, is that what you did?
No.
Oh.
No, it's Alex Rins.
Oh, is that how you did on this push bike?
Yeah, on the push bike, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so that's my story about Saxonry.
Nice.
Yeah, I do love that track. I want to ride there again one day.
Oh, and Phillip Island is looking like it's going to be waterlogged still.
Yeah, I heard that.
And the
Haven't
camp.
heard of water freaking suckers.
Yeah,
Drain some water.
2,000 people camping got cancelled.
Heard that, yeah.
He's lucky he's an official.
There's an official
campground,
that's alright.
Yeah.
So he gets the official waterlog one.
Yeah, that's it.
He loves
taking the mud boots, mate.
Taking your jet ski.
That's going to screw a lot of people up, isn't it?
Yeah,
No,
and
where's everyone going to stay?
and I'm lucky.
Right.
I've got a place I've been staying for 10 years.
You could sell camping space at the back there.
Hey, you know what?
Why don't you do that?
I was talking to my mate Rosa, who used to have Banfield's restaurant back in the day when
Check if there's any rental properties
when
down there.
Neil Hodgson was racing,
And then
when he
fire
went
out the ground.
Cut your hair.
yeah, with the bread knife,
Yeah, that's it. All prices
and
went up.
GSC and all them.
Always does.
I was talking to her the other day. That apparently on the local community board at Phillip Island, there's people going to be renting out their parking spaces at their homes.
Well, for campers?
Not for campers, just renting it out because there won't be any car parking.
Day
Basically,
parking.
at-
Oh yeah, because you won't be able to park your cars.
yeah, well,
Well, is that so the car park's fucked as well?
oh yeah,
I thought it might dry out by that. There's still a few
and there's
weeks.
still more rain coming,
Yeah, the island's sinking.
and
Global warming.
Yeah.
the I remember a few years ago with my mate Greg from Chris Vegas. We get out the car park, and there's this imitation.
Bird shit. He tasted it to make sure it was bird shit. Yep, that's bird shit.
There's an imitation BMW safety car in the general population car park, which the genuine one wouldn't be parked out there. He said, "Oh, it's got acrobatic pipes. I wouldn't have known the difference." And so it can't be genuine anyhow, and you wouldn't park it in the general car park, and you can do it in there.
Yeah.
I got to put my foot out of the car. It sunk that deep
Yeah. Right.
into the water, and then he went back over during the day to move the car. Got a tow truck for it. The tow truck got bogged as well, so I had to get another tow truck for the other one. So I'm expecting it to be like that. From the information I've already got from Phillip Island, from my mate Frankie, who used to be a local copper, and the helicopter crew. They flew over the other day and said the grandstands were getting the thing, but they said still water. And
It's going to be a nightmare, isn't it?
going
I'm going to the GP, I'm going to the World Superbike.
going for another helicopter ride.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, we're going to go out the coast again to the track, do a lap, and then a lot of free practice ones on, hopefully, and then they're giving us a free lap to do 2 laps and back 8 minutes, and it's awesome.
Hope to see some video footage of that.
Yeah, oh, you will. Hey, I have a new camera.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Hang it off and spring from underneath the helicopter.
any more?
Do you actually practice on the gaming consoles or not?
I can't even do a fucking lap without crashing.
Can't you?
Even if I use my own fucking character on there. I can't.
Okay.
It's,
Yes,
I,
I'd probably be able to beat you, would I?
You probably would. It's definitely.
challenge?
It's actually easier to do it in real life. I can tell you here first.
Probably different
It's,
for me then.
Yeah, the game is hard.
And that's what gets me with Dorna, with esports. Those guys are getting paid more money than the racers,
Who's that?
the esport ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they get paid ridiculous money for gaming,
Yeah.
and they're not risking anything other than a sore thumb.
Yeah.
Get a blister on their little finger.
Well, they're risking a real life because that's
Yeah.
what they don't have. They sit on their game consoles all
Yeah, but
fucking night.
The actual riders
Yeah.
are risking their lives and that, and they get paid a fraction of what they get paid.
Yeah, it's crazy. Isn't it?
It's crazy. Okay, well thanks, Davo,
No
again.
problemo.
Thank you very much.
We'll have to
catch up
we'll do
yeah.
another one
12 months time.
after
Yeah.
after the main TT this year when I will
Well-
hopefully win.
And with a big trophy comeback.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks,
yeah.
Ronnie. Ronnie's Cibo Catchups.
Yay!